Well, your wife's going to find out eventually, Russell.
Yeah.
Welcome to The Downside. My name is Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my...
Wait, how long do you sit on those? Do you really come up with them right before
no,
you do it?
I wish.
Or-
I thought
Okay.
about 10 minutes before you came here, I ran over a couple
It feels
ones.
like you have them like in
This one
ready
I had.
to go.
I knew exactly
Okay,
what
so
I
I just-
settled on. Because that story you told me, I mean,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
sounded
yeah.
wild.
Why? Yes,
What
yes. Wow.
Russell Daniels is your name, and you're the co-host. How are you
yeah,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
And we're here, very excited to have her, Joanne Nosuchinsky.
That is not how you say
did
her
you
name.
just-
Our friend's name.
What did you just say?
Did I mess it up?
You didn't say it right.
Try
say
it-
it again.
try it again.
Say it again.
Well, no. Well, now I know it's got to be different.
I don't even know how you said it the first time.
Oh, I know how he said it.
How did he say?
You said Nosuchinsky,
Yeah, you said.
like Anna Klumsky.
Now, how long have you known
Wait.
Joanne for? Let's tell everyone that's listening.
Nosuchinsky.
I can't.
Oh, I guess.
Gianmarco, you have known me for 7 years. I guess you don't say my
I guess
last
you don't
name
say
a
your
lot.
last name a lot, but that's crazy.
So, wait, stop. But,
Don't you see it?
Russell
Like-
Daniels, Douglas Goodhart, Joanne Nosuchinsky.
Look, okay, think of a different vowel instead of the U. Think of an I.
Yeah.
I was about to say a slur. I don't want to say a slur.
No.
Don't. No.
Chinsky. Say at the end. Chinsky.
Chinsky. Okay.
Yeah.
Nosuchinsky.
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 Gianmarco, this is
To be fair,
very-
that's an absurd last name.
No, what if Joanne came in here today, someone that has also known you for 7 years, and you were like, here I am with my friend Gianmarco Soresi.
That's how people bring me on stage.
Yeah, but people who don't know you.
Yeah. We have more in common than you think, Gianmarco.
I know. Well, listen, I may be a little flustered. I had one of the maybe biggest bombs of my life earlier today.
What time
Of
is
my
it?
stand-up
Why were you
career.
doing a show at?
Yeah.
I did. It was a private gig.
Pro tip: don't do a stand-up show at 1 p.m.
So it was.
How can you kill at that? I don't know.
I mean, but I did not think this is one of the worst. I had to do 15 to 20, getting paid $600, but then they waited an hour, so they bumped it up to $750.
Okay.
15 minutes. I get it's Nobu. They rented out Nobu for the day.
Oh,
wow.
And it's
That's
a
nice.
Jewish woman's 80th birthday.
Oh.
Now, they said they gave me some sushi. It was very good.
Yeah.
They said that she had viewed some of the comedians that the booker had produced, and she said she liked my stuff. They said that some of it was a little blue or a little dirty, and so they told me be kind of clean. I get there. They were playing like a slideshow of this woman's life. Like, you know, sometimes when the birthdays are that big for that old, it's kind of like this is the trial for the funeral. This is the run through.
Yeah.
Of
yeah.
like what we're gonna say at the
Wait,
funeral.
how many people were there? Sorry, in the crowd.
It was about I'd say 40 to 50.
And
Okay.
renting out Nobu
Renting
for
out
that?
Nobu.
Renting out Nobu. There's money there for sure.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, a lot of her friends are alive. It wasn't like, you know, family down the generations.
Yeah.
It was women who got dressed up and probably woke up at 6 to be ready for they looked good.
Yes.
Hats, scarves, things.
Okay.
They're mostly Jews.
Ladies who lunch type.
Ladies who
kind of
lunch,
thing.
yes.
Okay.
And in demeanor and spirit and sense of humor.
Yeah.
And they first, like, I think the daughter or the granddaughter went up and like said a speech like, you know, my mom lived life to the fullest. Thank Hashem. So it's very Jewish. And then at the end, she starts crying, like, you know, like, and I can't imagine life without her. Thank Hashem. And then her husband or another 80-year-old man gets up and says, all right, now we're going to have some comedy.
Oh man.
And I thought 15 minutes easy. 15 minutes is truly nothing. Jewish, gonna do a bunch of Jewish stuff. Keep it kind of clean. They didn't say like clean, but I was just like not gonna be dirty.
Yeah.
Man, I go up there, and from the get, I am bombing to borderline silence.
Well, what was the first thing you said?
Yeah. What was it?
First thing I said, oh, how wonderful this birthday to have a traditional Jewish meal at Nobu. That's 10 times what I got. And it's just amazing how when you're bombing, you just get worse. You just get worse and worse. And I probably fight it more than most, where you try not to sink and move back.
You keep thinking you could turn it around, or no?
I kept at 5 minutes in, you're like, holy shit. You start jumping from big, sometimes I have a big joke and then mostly good jokes after that. But then you start jumping just from your big hit to the next big hit. And when those don't even work, you're like, well, we're running out. And you can't rely on the cursing. You can't rely on the dirty. You can't rely on the mean. A lot of my comedy is mean.
Was there anything where you were like, not only are they quiet, but they're aggressively against this bit?
At one point, I tried dropping. I start with I had an audition once for Game of Thrones. Obviously, I didn't get it, or I wouldn't be doing this shit. And I thought like a joke, like let's see if a curse. Maybe they need a little curse. Yeah. And I said shit, and it was like it was a no. It was a no from the whole team.
Were they responding to shit, or were they responding to you saying you didn't want to be with them, right?
But normally that's the joke. That's the cute.
Or they don't know what Game of Thrones is.
Yeah.
I said to her, congrats on surviving the 1918 flu. That did not fly at all.
Gianmarco, okay, now you've given me 2 instances of using this joke.
I'm not bragging about the ones that did okay.
Okay. I'm just saying you might want to retire that one.
But just like, and it was one of those where normally this rough, you'd go dirty if it was a chaotic late night type show, or you do crowd work. But these are like old women who they're not going to even answer me. They're just going to be like, at one point I said, "What do you do for work?" She was so old. I stupidly said, "I was like, what do you still do work or something?" And she said, "I had lunch." That's the crowd.
Yeah,
that's the crowd.
Fun stuff.
And I have these 2 pillars on either side of me, and eventually I'm like, first I'm leaning on the pillar, then I'm wrapping my arm around it, then I have 2 arms around the pillar. And also, as I went on stage, because they're filming this whole event.
You're giving yourself the hook.
I am. As I film this whole event, they have a camera crew there documenting this.
Oh my God.
Not just me, but the whole event. So when I get on stage, this guy runs up and he gives me like a clip to record like extra audio on top of my microphone audio. I mean, this
I was just watching the George Carlin doc today, and I would love for in your doc to have footage of this.
Oh my God.
Just someday to be like,
well, Gianmarco, they might not have laughed in the moment, but watching back that footage, I'm sure they'll have a giggle.
Yeah.
It's that thing of where like you don't even you do that thing. It's not good as a comedian. We were like, oh, okay, you guys, tough crowd. I get it. And you don't want to say that. But after 10 minutes of just talking into nothing.
Do you think it would be better if you just like kind of like when that's happening, in those cases where it's organized, you're like, who organized this? Like just to ask them, like, does she like stand up?
Sure.
But who in this family thought that this was a good idea for today?
But then where do you go from there? Because then eventually it starts to get to
just so you have answers of like, why was this anyone's idea for me to do this?
Sure. And if it was younger, it could like, you could riff off of it, but it just felt like they'd be like, I don't know. I don't even know my name. I'm 80, please.
Oh, no, but I think they do know. They just didn't, they just don't like a lot of things.
Or maybe you just need to do some research on what older people are into. And so then when you have an older crowd, oh man, my Social Security check came in late again.
Sure,
having that kind of stuff.
Maybe. But all my old jokes are mean. Like I have the joke about...
Yeah, they don't like being reminded that they're about to die.
I've only been booked to sing 3 times in my whole life, and they were all for my grandparents' funerals, which means I only have 1 concert left. I mean, they don't like that. They just went to a funeral that morning before the birthday. Yeah. So I have one clip. This is my go-to save the set.
Well, you have a clip of like just what happened?
Yeah.
Social distancing was hard for me because other than being Jewish, my dad, he's Italian. And if you don't know Italians, we hug, we kiss. We get fired for it. Because it makes people uncomfortable. Like my roommate, not Italian. I remember the first time my roommate saw my Italian father and I kiss each other goodbye. He was like, ew. Do you kiss your dad in public? I was like, yeah. You know what'd be weird? If I only kissed him in private.
You fucking suck!
Gianmarco!
I hate you.
How long did it take you to edit that?
Yeah.
Not too long. I've gotten pretty good.
I thought they sounded pretty responsive and all that. leading up to it.
Pretty
For
responsive.
the picture that you painted, they had some light chuckles at like they get fired. Like someone did the thing where they repeat the punchline back. They're like, they get fired.
But it wasn't because
got
they
it.
liked it. It was because the person next to them is deaf.
No.
Yes.
These
There was
people
a lot of repeating of punchlines.
Oh, okay.
And not because, like, I can't wait to tell my grandson this one.
You should also learn sign language, maybe for your next
Sure.
booking. That would be so funny.
It was so embarrassing how helpless. I've been doing this a long time, and I just felt like I don't know even what to do. Moses Storm would have been on the table. He would have fucked the birthday woman.
Oh my God.
Consensually. And
no boo.
so, truly one of the top 5, other than the Uncle Function show we did on Monday. That was 3. I'm having a rough week. I'm having a rough go of comedy. It's just in those moments when you're bombing with this kind of business, you're like, am I anything? Have I done anything with my life?
Yeah.
But it humbles you, right? Like, it's good to have that occasionally.
I wish it humbled me. It sends me spiraling is the term I'd use.
Yeah.
Spiraling, death spiraling.
Yeah.
So that's me. I'm like weird. And the nice thing, the booker from the club, he understood. He was like, don't even think about this. Don't worry. Like, he said all the things that you'd want him to say. Like, I know what this was. That's the part that is the most painful. If you're like with the booker and the booker's like, what happened? And you want to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Let me
Yeah.
play you the set from last night.
Yeah.
So I'm cranky.
Yeah.
Russell, how are you?
Great.
We did a Beat the Bomb on
We
Sunday.
did a Beat the Bomb.
We invited you, to be fair.
I was working,
I know.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, we timed it for
and we didn't beat it. We
didn't beat
the
it.
bomb.
I did. I texted Douglas that. I was like, did you beat the bomb? He's
Douglas
like, nope.
We got
was
so close.
mad.
Yeah.
He gets competitive.
Yeah.
It was very funny. For a second, I was like, oh, you're really mad? Okay.
Yeah.
Douglas, he asked if we're going to talk about him a lot. You are engaged to Douglas.
Yeah, he like wants me to.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, are you going to talk about the downsides of dating me? And I'm like,
For those who don't know,
That's
Douglas.
the theme that we were going to make for this episode, Douglas. The downsides of dating you.
Douglas, yeah. Douglas does our theme song, just so
Yes.
people listening. So Joanne is engaged to Douglas, who did the Downside theme song.
Yes.
And he gets a lot of compliments on that theme song from guests that come on the show.
So we're not going to talk a lot about Douglas, but give us a downside of dating Douglas, a real one.
He is the better of the two of us. Which,
Let me repeat the prompt.
Gianmarco is livid.
what?
What's a downside of dating Douglas? Not where.
Which makes me look like the worst person.
There we go.
This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
If you guys find me being rude to Joanne Nosuchinsky, it's because we've known each other a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'm being my real self.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Great.
Now, we know each other way back from that Bachelorette show.
All three of us.
And
yeah.
we wanted you
All
on here
met.
because we're trying to get Vinny on the show. And I know you have his number.
Do I have his number? I did his podcast in the past.
What's
when
his
he
podcast
had,
called?
When he had one. I don't think he has one now. But he lives in New York City now.
Oh.
Hasn't he always?
But he goes to Vegas every once in a while to do like that
could have
hunk
guessed.
show or whatever.
Oh, yes, the
Yes.
Hunk Show. I sent you guys a
Yeah.
picture when I was
Oh,
in
yeah.
Vegas. So just a review, for recap, if you're new to The Downside from Zarna Garg's episode specifically, we did this show called That Bachelorette Show.
Mm-hmm.
It was a parody. Just so you know, we talk a lot of shit about it. I don't know if you're still trying to get Ken to give you some Broadway gigs.
I put
But-
it on my resume with pride.
Yeah.
It was a parody of That Bachelorette Show. It was an interactive play
Experience.
For bachelorette
Yeah.
parties.
and it was at a club. What was the club called?
Well, 2 clubs. Originally, it was. What was the first one called?
It was in the Out Hotel.
Yeah, but I don't know what that
I
club
can't
was
remember
called.
the name.
it was in the Out Hotel on 42nd Street, and then where it really died, where it got transferred to the Tropicana Club.
Copacabana.
Oh, the Copacabana.
Copacabana.
So sorry.
Yeah.
And it was you were the star.
You were the star.
I was the Bachelorette.
The Bachelorette,
Yeah.
and we all competed. And we would solicit the audience for votes to win the show, and then it was normally I won it once. Like I didn't win
Maybe
often.
once.
It was
I like that
mostly
you
Douglas.
looked at Joanne like she would remember.
Well, because she had the final dance with
But
the
like
dude.
she would remember how many times in a year that you won.
Imagine if I did keep that tally. It was 2.5 times, Gianmarco.
I won often
It was
because
between you and Douglas.
Yeah, Douglas and I both won often.
Sure, but I think Douglas got more.
I think it was close.
And you said you vowed to get engaged to whoever won the most times.
Yeah.
It became like kind of like a real life thing.
Isn't it so funny?
You know, if
It's
that
so
show was still
weird.
running, Ken would have made like a big. He would have like made it a wedding. You could have done the wedding at the
Yeah.
Copacabana.
Oh
I know.
yeah.
There's a small part of us that was like, should we contact him and tell him that like we're now engaged? Like, do you think he would care? And I don't know
Hey,
that
Ken,
he
it's
would.
Douglas. Who?
Yeah.
Who is this?
He gave me free tickets to a show one time. After that Bachelorette
He was
show.
just trying to fill the seats.
Yeah. Oh,
It wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't like
you're
a.
right. I forgot about
which
that.
show? Island.
I can't remember now.
So it was a horrible, horrible play that I think ultimately led to me leaving acting in my heart, at least.
Yeah.
I'm still trying, like in real life, but
Yeah.
in my heart. And it was late nights, Saturday nights, and you were in it, and we all vied for your heart. And I was your ex in the show. My character was Giovanni. That was my first and my last name.
Yeah.
And that's the level of creativity we were working
Well,
with.
and you had the hard
Yeah.
part where you were like really in the show and you know you were invested and then you got kicked out for a while because they
Yeah.
found a celebrity to replace
No,
you.
I left, and that's why they found Vinny.
Oh, is that
I
how
didn't.
Oh.
I was not kicked out. I was not kicked out. I left. I left that
You
show.
sure the writing wasn't on the wall of like, hey, we're gonna like get someone?
No, it was an emergency. when I
They
left.
just had enough in the budget once you left to free up getting Vinny.
Oh my God, were you like, can I
Sure,
get
sure.
his salary now?
Listen, I mean, they were trying to get Gabriel Iglesias for your part, but it just didn't work out. What was your shirt say?
Something like fat fucking chubby guys are no, it was like chubby guys cuddle better. I think.
Chubby guys cuddle better. But one of the you were the thing we really wanted to talk about today. The downsides
yes.
of.
Sure.
Is this why you got that role? Did you audition for that part? Or did he just go through the last Miss New York's by year?
I was in Ken Davenport's Awesome 80s Prom.
Which is where I met Joanne.
So Russell and I knew each other beforehand.
So Awesome 80s Prom, again, interactive show that did very well.
Yes.
And it featured like all the racist characters of 80s movies.
Yes.
And
Yes.
people like that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it. So I was in that for about like 4 years. I started as a cover. I ended up playing all the different cheerleaders at some point. And the choreographer, Jess, asked me to audition, or Ken asked me to audition. And I said no for a Bachelorette
Good
show.
for you. Good for you.
But then they were like, please audition.
That's all it took.
And I did. I know, right? That's all I need. I just need a little bit of please. And yeah, I was then told I got it. And I was like, all right. Because at the time I was working at Fox News Channel. And I had like that was my full-time job. And there was nothing really like artistic or.
So you knew her
in my
before
life.
Awesome 80s Prom.
Yeah. No, I did in I see you're
'Cause of
making a joke
Fox.
because of Fox. Oh. I was like, no, I did. Yeah.
So you were Miss New York 2000
USA.
Miss US
Miss New York, USA.
Miss New is there a Miss New York no USA?
Miss New York is the America system. And those are the homely girls.
Good. I like this.
Those are the ones that do
This is the
charity
energy.
work. And
No. It's just there's a really big divide between the America girls and the USA girls. USA girls say Miss America is the girl next door. Miss USA is the girl you wish lived next door.
This is how they brand it too, or this sounds kind
Miss
of a
America-
one-sided labeling.
Miss America is a scholarship pageant. Miss USA is a beauty pageant. You get a modeling contract if you win. So we are the shallow of the shallow, and we know that. We know who we are. We don't have a talent portion of competition.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, this
It's
is interesting.
just bikini and evening gown and interview, and that's it.
What's the one?
I'm surprised they did the interview.
What's better known, Miss America or Miss USA?
So USA goes on to Universe.
This USA is what you did. USA goes on to Universe.
So that's really well known. And USA is what Trump used to own.
Okay.
When he owned a pageant circuit, it was the USA circuit.
But America, which has like more, which in America, I'm trying to think which ones I watched once in a while when I was a kid.
America takes place in Atlantic City.
Okay.
USA usually takes place in Vegas.
Oh,
They've
that
done
seems
other
nicer.
areas before too. But America they're both televised. But America just got rid of swimsuit recently because they're like, it's not kosher. It's, why are we
Yeah.
judging women? And I have always said, the best part about losing a beauty pageant is being able to say, oh, they didn't like me for my body. Well, when you get rid of that, it's they didn't like me for my personality. What feels worse?
Yeah. That's
When you're
true.
like, oh, I was too short, I was too tall. No, it was like, oh, I don't help the homeless enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm an awful conversationalist. Like, oh God, I need to really work
Yeah.
on me.
So America, it just got rid of the swimsuit.
Yes.
They're both still around.
Yes.
So was this the first pageant you did, or did you grow up doing pageants? Are you a pageant girl?
I didn't grow up doing pageants. I did one when I was 16. It was like a National American Miss. They sent you flyers in the mail, kind of like the Army. They want anyone to just like try them out.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I did.
Well,
Got
who did you say, Mom, Dad, I want to do this, or did they go like
I did.
you did?
And instead of having a sweet 16 that year, my mother said, you can do this pageant because it costs a lot of money. That's one of the downsides of pageantry. It's a lot of money.
And you were living where at this point?
When I was 16 with my
Yeah.
parents in New Jersey.
In New Jersey. And then where was this Miss? What's this one called?
National American Miss. There's
Versus
so many.
National USA Miss. They're a bunch of whores.
There are so many. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Where'd you say it was again?
in
Miss National US Miss.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. I
Jersey.
mean, they have state competitions.
State competitions. So you did that one. And did you have to, what does that entail? Like, what did you have to do for it?
Well, that one, God, it's such a money grab, especially for those. So it was like, if you want to enter the spokesperson competition for $50, we'll give you a script that you have to read pretending you're a spokesperson. The best read wins. Or
And it's all for Trump hotels and Trump steaks.
Oh my God.
So which one did you apply for?
Yeah, I think there was like a commercial audition one.
Sure.
Which I totally won.
And did you go because you're like, I love the stage? Did you go because in your head were you like, I'm hot?
Well,
I
keep
can
in
win.
mind, this is back brace Joanne.
Right. So tell us this because.
So I grew up from the age of 12 to 16. I had to wear a back brace
That's a very long time.
16 hours a day.
So basically, you would sleep not in it.
I would sleep in it.
Oh, and that would count
So
as
would
part
you
of
just
16.
try to do the 8 hours at school? Like,
I would do some at school. When I had gym class, I would take it off. I would change out of my sweatpants.
Was it like the
put
girl
on
in the
my
movie
jeans.
that takes off the glasses and becomes all sexy, but it was like a big like back brace, and then it was like, whoa.
yeah, how noticeable are we talking about the back brace?
I could wear it under my clothes,
Uh-huh.
except I couldn't wear jeans with it. So when I would take it off, I would put on jeans, and I didn't realize until years later it probably looked like I just pissed myself every day because I changed my pants every day.
yeah.
Sure. What does it look like though? What is it doing? It's keeping your back straight.
So basically, it's like a plastic corset.
Okay.
So it would sit under my sternum. It would go down to what do you call it? The crease of your hips.
The cum gutters.
Oh my god.
You
Or
know
what are you
what?
looking up the
That
crease of
is
your hips?
that is the word I was looking for. Thank you. And it would have Velcro straps on the back that you would tighten to a certain line, and that would position. They would take X-rays before and after, and they were trying to get my spine sort of as straight as possible in that brace. And what happens is your muscles learn to kind of stay rigid in that position because they're doing it for 16 hours every day. And the idea is as you grow, your spine won't get worse. I was at 31 degrees. At 35, you need surgery, or they recommend surgery.
Oh my God.
So it's really not supposed to correct it. It's supposed to prevent it from getting worse. But I was so religious about wearing it because I didn't want surgery that it actually did correct to 15 degrees.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a big...
So
And what's
I
the
gained
dream?
like half an inch in height.
The dream is 0?
The dream is no surgery and no pain.
Sure.
So I would say I've achieved my dream.
Does this run in your family? What is this, scoliosis that we're
Yes.
talking about? Okay.
My mother has scoliosis as well, but it she's from a generation where they didn't. She was one of 10 kids. That's overlooked. She was never really treated.
Did she have surgery?
No, it was never bad enough. Mine
Okay.
was pretty bad.
Did your sister have to wear a back brace?
No.
So, were you embarrassed by it?
Not really. It was really only my sister that would make fun of me.
What would she say? Would she just tap on the back?
Yeah,
Like,
their
knock, knock.
nicknames.
Anything I couldn't do, she's like, it's because of your back brace. She would get her and her friends to say that all the time.
My God.
Was that true?
Is that why you had...
I mean, certain things I couldn't really bend down.
She would like host a lot of like bending. Who can bend fastest
She'd be like,
competitions?
oops, I dropped this.
Guys, a limbo again tonight. So, okay, so you're wearing this back brace,
Mm-hmm.
and then
But then you're like, you had, so at 16 though, are you, did you like come out of the back brace and you're like a swan moment, like now I
I
want to
think
enter
so.
a pageant?
I think there was a part of me that really wanted to shed that.
but were you still
Image of myself.
popular? Were you still like getting guys' attention, or did they see the back brace and go, no, thank you?
I think it was my personality and
Sure.
not the back brace.
Sure.
I was, oh my gosh, always raising my hand, participating in class. I was too much.
I've done improv with you.
Thank you.
wow.
Were you there for that one where I did an improv with Douglas and he's like, oh no, it's in the attic. And I go, we don't have an attic.
Oh my God.
Completely
Classic.
denied
Classic.
him.
Classic.
Oh God.
You
It's
don't
still-
have an attic, you
And
psycho.
then I was like, I was playing a grandma with dementia. And he's like, that's not how it works.
I think we may have a classic Uncle Function moment. Chris Cafaro from Uncle Function and I, we were doing a sketch where a cop car pulls us over. You were the cop. And there's supposed to be siren cues. They missed the cues. This was at the pit loft.
Yeah.
And I knew they had missed the cue, and we needed the cue. So I said, oh, no, we're getting pulled over by the police. And Chris just went, no, we're not. That's not the police. And I looked at him like,
Like he knew the sketch.
where is the sketch going to go now?
And
Obviously,
also,
he had
mind
a
you, we
different
have
idea.
not invested in a police costume. So it really needed them to lay out.
I had to do a double no. I was like, no, I'm
No,
pretty
I
sure
think
it's the fucking police. So you when you get this Miss Teen USA, tell me what you think the name is based on your memory.
Oh God, Miss. I have no memory.
Which one was
National American Miss. But this is like the minor leagues. This isn't
Yeah,
even.
yeah,
this? Sure,
yeah,
but that's
this
where it
is-
starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were 16 when you applied.
Yeah.
Was this post back brace and you were like, I'm ready for beauty pageants now?
Yeah, it was right around then. Yeah.
And
And it wasn't I was ready for beauty pageants. It wasn't like, this is my new life. I just wanted to try it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I did pretty well. I got, I think, third runner up.
what did you have to do for it? By how many outfits are you doing? Runway?
Interview, I had a little white suit. I had
Is it public? Is it a performance interview or private? They just talk to you in a room
private in a
with
room.
a 60-year-old man who says, "Let me see your gums."
Okay, there's a table of really judgy old women
Okay.
who
Okay.
interview us. An evening gown, and I think that was it. This didn't have swimwear, I don't believe.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Dear Christ.
I know. Some of it's weird.
Wait. Okay. Interview. What was the other thing?
Evening gown.
Evening gown. And is any of this public? Is this all just in a room with these old ladies
It's in a ballroom. My parents were there. My friends came
for the?
for the final presentation.
And did you go back and forth? Did you hit a pose? Were you in a line? Is there a theater element to this yet?
It's literally like a cattle call in the sense that we walk like a line of cattle, and then they say our number and we walk forward and then we walk back.
did you get along with the other women at this stage, or was it just were you all like?
Oh, yeah.
It feels like an early age to be like, my looks are gonna win over your looks.
They start those pageant things. Have you ever seen any of those reality shows? Those pageant. If you're like invested doing the pageant thing, that starts at like so young.
Well, there must have been some women there
Toddlers
who
and
this is
Tiaras.
their
Remember that show?
100th pageant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought I was going to do well because I have always had a diluted amount of self-confidence. And that's also why I was just like, I can be friends with everyone here because no one was a threat to me.
Sure.
And that's then what you see at like the Miss USA level. If I may, just move forward for just a
Sure,
second.
please.
Yeah, please.
My roommate at Miss USA was Miss Illinois. We are still best friends to this day. This was almost 10 years ago we competed at Miss USA. And we both were convinced we were each going to win when, like, physically that's not possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, we both just thought we would. And then, like, if it wasn't me, I guess it'll be her. But, like, we never really thought of the reality that, like, only one of us can. You know, it's just because we're so mentally strong at that point. And it's really the girls who aren't that don't do very well and who have a hard time.
Which one of you did win?
It was, well, she got second runner-up. She got
Second
very
runner-up.
close.
I see.
Yes.
So,
Which she says is second loser, so.
and what were you?
So I didn't make the top 15, but I believe I was 16th.
Okay. You were in the top 50.
I think so too.
I was in the top 51.
Yeah.
51 is there?
Wait,
Is
so-
there Washington D.C. or Puerto Rico?
Sure is DC.
D.C.
Wait, so I have a question though. So, okay, so you're in New York. You're acting.
Yeah.
What brought you back to like the pageant thing? Like, because right, you were
Yeah.
you're here, and then like, is there any sort of? Can you just enter that? Like,
Yeah, there was an ad in Backstage.
Oh my god!
What if we? What if we entered it?
No,
Is there like a dude? Is there a dude version of this, Mr. America?
There's gotta be.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a good episode.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did well in that first. All right, what is the name now?
I'm never gonna remember the name.
Miss National
of it. Miss National.
USA.
Miss USA
National.
National American Miss.
National American Miss.
Okay,
National and
here's how I'm gonna
American.
remember
That
it.
does feel like a little bit.
National American Mississippi is how I'm gonna remember it, but it's just National American Miss.
Great.
Yeah.
And you said you got third place?
Third runner-up,
Runner-up.
which is
Third
fourth
runner-up.
place.
Yeah. I like these titles. And did you win a ribbon? Did you win a trophy?
I got a trophy, got a ribbon. Went to Olive Garden. Like, what more could a 16-year-old want?
Yeah.
Do you remember how you felt? Were you like, this is my calling?
I was bummed I didn't win.
Yeah.
But I think, like, my parents were surprised. Like, for my first time, everyone else was like, oh, wow, this is so great. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't get to be on the national magazine.
Yeah.
What magazine is this?
There's a National American Miss magazine.
Of just that version.
You get to see what all the girls do during their
Yeah.
reign.
So is this every state had a national
American Miss.
Mississippi? Okay.
You're really focusing on the wrong pageant,
Yeah.
though. This
That's why
pageant
I tried
does
to
not
get
for
matter.
my younger fans who want to get into
Okay,
this.
but I'm saying so.
And I would
she
say
got
don't
third
start
place.
there. Start at Miss
She got
Teen
third-
USA.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is Miss Teen USA. That's
Yeah,
easier
You
to
didn't
remember.
do that though. You didn't do
I
that.
didn't do that teen
Great.
one, no.
Well, let's dive into that.
I'm saying I'm curious about how of like doing it once, then not doing it for years and years, and then finding a thing in Backstage and being like, yeah, I'll do that.
I didn't even
again.
know Backstage was involved with it. Wait, so why didn't you ever do it again? Why did you stop?
Because I was focused on acting.
Uh-huh.
Because I won the like little acting part of it, and I was like, ugh.
What was the acting part of it? What
I
did you have
told you
to
it was
do?
a commercial. I had to do commercial copy.
Do you remember what the
It was for fish food from Ben and Jerry's.
fish food?
The flavor
PH.
The
from
flavor.
Ben and Jerry's.
Have you
Oh.
ever gone out of a street? Have you ever gone into a business? Have you ever?
Are there
done
He eats water ice without flavor, so
We're like
he
having to
doesn't know.
explain like stairs to you, like right now.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, what flavors are in this ice cream?
Again, you are.
So, I'm just kidding. Okay,
no
so
one cares.
I am so. I just want her to explain
You know what
Backstage
the
magazine.
downside is of pageantry? Having to explain this fucking part.
This might be the one episode my dad will listen to. I'll be like, we had a Miss New York, and my dad will be like, what year?
Well, and I'm trying to get to the Miss New York part of it.
All right,
Yeah.
chill the fuck out, okay? So you go to college for acting.
Yes.
Where'd you go?
Rider University.
Where's that?
Rider like a bronc. It's in
Is that the
sure is. Our mascot's the bronc. It's in Lawrenceville, which is right next to Princeton.
Okay.
So it's like a medium-sized private school. I went there on an acting scholarship.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much the tuition did they cover?
Full tuition.
Wow, that's nice.
They gave away 2 full tuition scholarships a year. You had to audition for it, which is why I went there.
How much was your thing?
It was 16,000 for academic. That was from the SAT score.
Oh.
And then 3,000 extra from the musical theater school. So it was only $85,000 a year after that.
Where did you go?
That was an exaggeration. It was University of Miami.
Oh,
but I'm
yeah.
pretty sure the tuition was like 50
Oh yeah.
rand.
Oh yeah.
What a
Yeah.
waste.
I mean,
What a waste.
I just finished off paying my room and board loans.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
And by that I mean one loan was to my father, and he forgave about $1,800 of it. Just the
Nice.
other day, he sent me a card in the mail. It's so good, and it said, "Some people claim that they'll give you forgiveness, but Daddy delivers." And he's like, "Your loan is forgiven."
Is this a card they sell like in the pre-made cards?
He wrote that.
He wrote that.
part.
He wrote that.
Yeah.
But Daddy delivers.
He's
Do you call him Daddy?
no.
Okay.
He was trying to be funny.
yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
It would be funny if there was a section of Ed and Hallmark.
I know,
of,
that
like-
would be better.
Of like forgiving
Forgiving
the
your
loans
daughter's-
of your.
That's how bad student loans are. That there's a whole section for forgiving your child's student loans. Wow.
Yeah.
So you graduate, full scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
You are auditioning. You're in the
I
city.
immediately moved to New York, and I'm like, this will be easy.
Yes, we all did.
And, it's not moving as fast as I wanted. And I thought,
Or we're jumping to now.
no, we're jumping to
I'm
doing the
joking.
pageant. I saw that, and I thought, this will be a great opportunity to, get exposure.
Yeah.
And, maybe
This
meet
was
people.
Miss. What was this one called? This is the real Miss.
This is the state pageant, Miss New York, USA.
Now this you must have been doing Awesome 80s relatively at
Yeah.
the same time, because I don't remember exactly when I met you, but it was 2012 or 13. 13, I think.
You weren't at the beginning of that show or anything.
No,
right?
but I came in towards the end of
Yeah,
it.
so I think I started around 2011, and you came in, around 2013,
13,
which
I
is when
think, yeah.
when I was Miss New York.
Yes.
So it seems kind of crazy that they would even have to rely on backstage, given that this is this is the highest thing right before Universe. Just seems kind of wild that they would even advertise in backstage that these would be people who've been doing it forever.
Sure, but you always want new people. I mean, people age out.
Yeah.
There's an age cutoff. So then you need new people. And sure, young actors and models who are beautiful, who are looking at backstage trying to get work. That's a good place to get people who aren't like duds, Or,
Well, I feel like you're gonna. No offense to backstage. Yes, offense to backstage. You're gonna get a lot of duds. I can see a lot of people mistakenly thinking that they should be in.
But think
Miss
about
USA.
if you weren't an actor or performer, and think how many people that even if they have the looks, they're not going to be as dynamic or they're not going to know how to be interviewed or do that sort of
there
thing.
is
Do you know what I
a
mean?
phone interview and an in-person interview, so they can weed out
Yeah.
the real duds.
So you apply. Did you think in your wildest dreams that this would you're applying for Miss New York, or you're applying for the pageant that will determine who's Miss New York?
No, for Miss New York, USA. There's no preliminary pageants. If you pay the $1,800 entrance fee, which covers your hotel stay for 2 nights, your meals, registration, all of that, that's everything. However, a lot of girls will get sponsors, which I tried to do, but nobody wanted to sponsor me.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll invest in myself and I'll pay it. And I did.
But they decided. So you did a phone interview first. then an in-person, and from that they said you're the Miss New York?
No, they said you can compete at Miss New York.
Compete at Miss New York.
And I picked my title that I would compete under, and it was Miss Hell's Kitchen.
You just picked a borough. Most
you
people
lived there.
I lived there.
Sure. But
So most people will pick where they live.
Yeah.
Or where they're from, because it's not just New York City. There's like a Miss Albany, Rochester,
Sure.
Long Island.
And you got to pick it though. Could someone come in and
So
be
how
like,
many-
I'm Miss Malcolm X Boulevard?
Yeah.
How many people were competing in that then? That for all the New York?
I want to say it was 120.
Okay, it
was pretty big.
Wow.
And was this is Trump involved at this point yet? Is this at the
He's
Trump?
only at the national level.
Only the national. So then what's that competition like? What do you have to do?
So for New York, it was a swimsuit. So you had to walk in a bikini or a one piece. One piece won't win.
Is that
Bikini.
true? They'll never win?
It's unlikely because if you're competing at the national and then the universe level, they're going to want to see that you are very toned, which means showing your abs. So walking in a bikini and very high heels, which I say is my talent, evening gown, any gown you want to wear, walking around in that. And then it's a private interview, and that's all the preliminary stuff. Then from that, the main show is when they've narrowed down the 120 to a top, usually 15 to 20 girls. And then those top 15 and 20 do swimsuit, evening gown. They narrow it down. Then the last 5 do an on-stage question.
So they just repeat what they already did.
But only the top girls get to do it again for the judges and a full audience.
And is this an entertaining event or is it like weird? I mean, you're just walking.
So there are hosts, and so as you're walking, you've written down what you want the judges and the audience to know about you. So the judges might say, and next up is number 62, Joanne Nosuchinsky, Miss Hell's Kitchen. Joanne has a degree in theater from Rider University. She loves coffee, puppies, and yoga.
Were those the three?
No, I just
No,
made-
she's just making it up.
I don't really like yoga or
She
puppies.
doesn't like anything. She likes to win.
Essentially, yeah. But yeah, so that's what happens. And then you have your cheering sections, like your friends come. And yeah, now that I have to explain it, it does sound stupid.
But it sounds like, I mean, here's the thing. I feel like it sounds like any pageant. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what they are.
Yeah.
It's like trying to explain a weird thing that's always existed that it exists for a long time. It probably is weird, but no weirder than a lot of things that we do and watch.
Sure.
But
I just, especially like in a body positive society, I feel like I don't know what would even be discussed at this point. Like, I thought she looked great. She looked happy. The next one looks great too. They all look great.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to see me like her arms though.
Yeah.
The triceps a little flabby. I just
Yeah.
don't even know what I would love if all the judges now are just like everyone gets 10s.
Good.
They say, "Can we give 11?"
Oh, that's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hire a coach at any point? Like, is that something like if you win?
Before
Sorry to bounce around. We're gonna go back and forth. But yeah, after you won New York?
So before Miss USA, I did walking lessons with her name is Lou Sierra. And she is the actual walking coach for Miss USA. There's even a Kardashian episode where Kendall takes walking lessons with her.
Oh, wow.
She's super
Okay,
well
so
known.
she's
She
like-
lives in Harlem. You go to her like brownstone house in Harlem. You walk on her like long hallway in your heels. And she teaches you the certain turns, how to take off a sarong. And
What's
how
a sarong?
A sarong is the thing that you wear over the bikini bottom, and it's tied. And then when you get to the front, you stop, you take it off, you drop it to the side, you do your little spin. And she teaches you kind of how to do all that and make it look effortless. And she actually did help me with my walk because I watched back a video from the state pageant, and I was like, oh, God, my walk is so like rigid and like sharp. And she goes, yeah, you're locking your knees. You're hyperextending your legs. You need to always have a slight bend in your knee, which then makes your hips sway a little more. It betters your balance. So it really is like a talent. It does take a lot of work. It sounds stupid, but it really
I mean,
does.
because it's an interesting pedigree to be a walking coach because, I guess
Interesting.
for models too and pageants. So there's more than.
I mean,
one
I
thing.
did it in college. I had movement class.
No,
and he
but I
didn't
think-
know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like at that point, you're like, maybe this does need to be a little bit more
Yeah.
niche. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
walking.
yeah.
You cover the waist down.
I one time did I was in a movement class. No, I was in a movement audition, which is not ideal. And it was for grad schools in Chicago. And I have never felt worse about, like, it was like very movementy in the theater class way of like, where you're like, oh, we're not even animals. We're like wind and like, you know, and I'll never forget that coach coming over to me and just saying, sir, because I was doing it wrong, but offering no sort of guidance on what, just really letting me know that I was not being wind correctly.
Yeah.
And I've never felt worse.
But movement, we did that for Julliard at the first.
Julliard audition.
Yeah, we did like a going in a circle. Now you're a lizard, and every kid's like trying to win the audition.
Yes.
in this moment.
Yes.
Animals, and then in a hot tub. Did you do that?
I don't think I did it in a hot tub.
At that point, I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Juilliard. This
You're like,
I
change
can't
to your
stand
bikinis.
This.
We're going to do it in a hot tub right now.
Please.
My
I would
Julliard.
be more comfortable.
It was so brutal. I mean, that whole college auditions was the worst because I
Yeah.
just didn't have anyone who knew what they were talking about advising me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Julliard, the fire alarm went off in the middle of my monologue.
Oh,
and
God.
they knew it was a warning, so they're just like, we'll just wait it out. But I'm standing in front of the judges' table.
Oh.
And like now I joke, I would try to do something, but I just remember standing there. And at some point, I think I like danced to the alarm. I was like, and nothing. I mean, I was just standing there.
You danced
in the middle
to
of
the
my
alarm.
my Hamlet monologue.
Oh,
and
God.
you look back and you're like, what would Robin Williams have done? He would have used the alarm somehow.
Yeah.
But it was pure hell.
I don't
And
know.
then- and then
I
they
don't
tell
know
you-
if they're producing Robin Williams anymore over there. Listen, I one time, no offense if you went to Juilliard, but I one time saw a show where they on Broadway, and I think it was, what's that show where the woman has cancer? Cynthia
I
Nixon played it.
I saw that. Wit.
Yes.
Wit.
And all I remember, it made me. I was very sick when I saw
Manhattan
the
Theater
show.
Club.
Yes, but I remember reading, and I think maybe it wasn't Juilliard. Maybe it was
Very sick. You had
maybe
COVID at the time.
No, this is years ago. We'd never
first
knew
case.
what COVID was. But I was very sick at the time. I remember being like really kind of out of it. But I remember laughing so hard in one part because. No, Cynthia Nixon, I think, was great. I can't really remember much.
She was
about her.
amazing. I think it was 2012.
I think she was very good. But what I remember at the time was it might not have been Juilliard, but it was some program in the city where all the acting students who just graduated were now like playing like the small parts.
Yes.
The doctors and nurses. And there was one moment where she dies, I think, and they're like, and they had to react, and it was watching. They didn't really have lines until the end of the show. And so it was like someone's big moment was to be like, Doctor, what are we going to do? And it was so big and so broad, and it completely took me out of Cynthia Nixon dying, and I laughed so hard because it was so bad. And they were like, look at all these Juilliard students. So this isn't me shitting on Juilliard, but it is kind of, and fuck
You
those
are.
programs.
You are.
Fuck those programs. They produce these boring ass fucking actors now, and they're not producing Robin Williams anymore. They're producing these people that are like, oh, they all sound the same. They all look the same. I'm sick
I think
of it.
Robin dropped out.
Good.
Uh,
Anyways. Not to
How
make this
did we
about
get
Juilliard.
here?
I don't know. Gianmarco's Julliard audition movement class. You took the class with the woman in the brownstone.
Oh, yeah, the walking lessons.
the question is just how much money. She has a brownstone in Harlem. That's pretty expensive, and has a long enough hallway to
I mean,
teach
if
walking
she's
lessons.
coaching Kardashians.
I don't
on
think she's
walking,
the whole brownstone. She was a whole a floor.
That's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So you made it to the next round, down to 15-20. You do it again. Do you remember what your question was on stage?
Yeah, I had two questions. The first was, what would you tell your 10-year-old self? And I said, oh, don't sweat the small stuff. You're going to be fine. And everyone loved that. That was like the icebreaker question. And then my next question was, do you think gay couples should have the same right to marriage as straight couples?
Amazing, amazing.
Those two questions.
That
And
is,
you were Miss Hell's Kitchen.
Yes. And also keep in mind, though, this is 2013, which is, I think, technically before the Supreme Court.
Was it?
Wasn't that like 2015?
I thought it happened when I was in college.
I thought I was in grad school.
Yeah. So they were still they were doing it after the decision, Do you disagree with the Supreme Court saying
Maybe.
that?
Who knows?
I can't remember.
Who knows? But to me, it was like, I'm in New York. This is such an obvious answer. Like,
Yeah.
there's only one way to answer. But also, sometimes these girls have a really bad habit of just digging a hole.
Yeah.
And they just keep digging it.
Oh, Miss Long Island.
And they
was
just
like,
keep digging
"Fuck
it."
that.
And so my answer was, I am a believer in equal human rights. And I think, and my sister said, Joanne, you really screwed up when you answered. This is what I said. See if you agree with her. I said, I think I should have the same rights as every single person in this auditorium. So yes.
Oh, you sound like a lesbian.
I sounded like a lesbian. But I said, yes, I think that gay couples should have the right to marry. Which is not what I mean, I'm not a lesbian. But it just meant like we are all equals. But anyways, that I later learned one of the judges is a woman who has like a lot of gay besties. And she was like, as soon as you gave your answer, I was like, I turned to the other judges and I was like, she has to win. Vote for her.
Were there people there that said no?
That's what I'm wondering.
No, we got individual questions.
Oh, you don't know. What
I was the only one who had that. One girl, her
Well, they were
answer.
like Hell's Kitchen. She's probably a safe bet. She's gonna say yes.
One girl, I can't remember what her question was, but in her answer, she revealed that she had a heart condition and she had gone through heart surgery. And as I was number 5 to go, I was the last one. I think she was number 4. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh,
And the question
how
had
am I
nothing
going
to do
beat
with.
a heart girl
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
It was like, do you believe Puerto Rico should be a state? Well,
He goes, well, when I had
listen,
heart
I'm able to
surgery.
love them despite my heart condition that almost took my life.
Exactly.
Why do you think you won really because of that she thought you were a lesbian?
No. I do not think it was that. I don't think it came out sounding that way. My sister is the only person who said that to me. So.
I mean, all I know about your sister, at least from this, is that she made fun of your back brace and got her friends to do so too,
Yeah.
and said you came off like a lesbian. So
She's a great woman. She's getting married tomorrow, by the way.
oh my god.
She'll already be married by the time this comes out.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I think I won because I was composed. I gave short, great answers.
Because were they all theater kids, or were some of them like really like awkward on stage?
I was like the only theater person.
Sure.
So that's how I gave myself confidence, because it was at the SUNY Purchase Theater is where they held the pageant. So I was like, this is great. I'm a theater kid. This is my home. This is my turf.
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And did they announce it right then and there? That night?
Yeah.
How were you like, oh my God, is this how I make it? Like, were you like this, oh my God, this is the moment. I'm going to be Miss. That's a big deal.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
As I was training at the gym, right, to get ready, I'd be on the treadmill and I would envision, like, I would do countdowns on the treadmill, like intervals. And when I would get down to 5 seconds, 4 seconds, I would envision like top 5, calling 4, 3, 2. And I would envision myself on the stage. And it totally happened like that. Like, I totally saw it and it totally happened exactly the way I envisioned it. But then I won and I was like, oh, now I have to go to Miss USA. Like, I didn't plan for that. Oh, crap. Like, I got to keep going. you
And
know?
what's the turnaround time between, like, what's in between Miss New York and then Miss USA?
So New York was one of the last pageants in January, and then USA was in June. So, like, 6 months.
Okay.
So then you're really training. You're.
Are you doing more? Or are you like, I've got to walk in class 2 times a day?
So you then get tons of sponsors and partnerships when you win. So I had trainers. They worked at a place called Kettlebell Kickboxing, which is part of like a martial arts studio. So cool. I loved my trainers. My one trainer, Janelle Stevens, is kick-ass. She is now a stunt double for a lot of movies. She was in the Wakanda Forever movie. What's that?
Black Panther.
Black Panther. What?
The
I didn't
Wakanda
watch it.
Forever movie.
I didn't watch it.
The RBG Wakanda Forever movie.
Ruth Kanda.
That's all I know. But she was one of these like warrior women in it.
Yeah.
Incredible. But she played for like UConn basketball, and like she was so positive, and like it was these classes where it was like high intensity interval training with kettlebells, and I just like felt like a badass.
So
and,
suddenly they're invested in you. They're like, you are now representative of New York.
oh yeah. And so like I got all these things for free, which is great. I had like clothing sponsorships with like BB and Pinky Auto. I got lots of stuff given to me or lent to me.
Money prize at all?
No. And that's the issue. So like I would go to events, right? Because you want the exposure, but it would be on a Friday night and I'd have to take off bartending and I would typically make like $350 on a Friday night. And you're like, oh, I'm not going to like I don't get money for making an appearance. Like I'm not a celebrity. So it was hard, but I guess it ended up paying off. I don't know. I had a good time and I'm not in debt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we already got to that Bachelorette show, so it did. So you're training, and in your mind, is it like, I'm going to be, I guess it's like, well, what do you work? You want to be even more fit? I mean, you already were fit for the thing. Are you trying to be like, I'm going to, weigh 0?
Well, and here's the thing. I was emaciated. I think I was 100 pounds wet. And at 5'5", that is way too thin. But I looked incredible on camera. Because the camera does add like 10 pounds. So like 110 would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But no, I think you get in your mind, like every body is different. But people are like, yeah, you can't have the bread, the sugar, the dairy. So I cut all of that out. But I would still drink wine at lunch because my body was like craving sugar. Uh-huh. And I was stressed. But a few days before I left for Miss USA, I got bedbugs. So the stress of that and the walking up and down the stairs of my 5th floor apartment to like wash all of my clothing.
Oh my God.
Transport it to, God bless my parents, the hotel they put me up in for 2 nights before I left for Miss USA. I would then like bring my clean stuff to the safe hotel and like, I was like, I can't spread bed bugs to 50 states. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Wait, did you have like marks? Like, were you nervous about like having like
Well,
literal
I
bugs?
thought it was a reaction to my spray tans.
Oh no.
And it didn't look like bites. It just looked like kind of like a blotchy tan. And then one day I was changing my sheets. I was like, I don't know, let me look at the head of my bed. Because I'd always look at the foot of my bed. And I saw like so many bugs. Oh. And
I've had them too. It's I think the worst part, I had built a little voiceover studio like in my closet. Like when I say voiceover, I mean like the sound pads and blankets. And I saw like a bug and it was like flat. It was so flat that like I would try to kill it like with the blanket and it would, like couldn't quite do it because it was so flat. And then you Google and you look at the pictures and you're like, it's kind of like when you look at like a bump down there and you're like, it kind of looks like a pimple. But then it's like it was like looking at the bug and you're
razor
like
burn, yeah.
You're like, that's a beetle. That's just an emaciated beetle. It's just a Miss New York beetle.
Yeah.
And then and I got it early enough, but for mine, they went in the corner of like these doors. Like whenever I'm scared about bed bugs, I always look in the corners of these doors because that's where mine went.
Yeah.
You ever had bed bugs?
No, knock on wood.
I'm really hoping that like COVID just knocked them out. With everyone just staying at home and not going to movie theaters.
It's hard. I remember like finding it's hard to believe that everywhere doesn't have it because you're like, well, they can survive without food for months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had a friend who had like all the bed bug. She worked at a bed bug company, so she gave me these like poison sticks that I'm still convinced gave me cancer or will give me cancer because they were just in my
Did you
apartment.
eat them?
Mm-hmm. It was horrible. I remember putting everything in the dryer. If I had bed bugs again, I would pay any amount of money to just go away, have someone take care of everything,
guess what?
and come back.
I moved.
Sure.
Well, what happened was, right, so I really wanted to win Miss USA because if you win, you moved into Trump Tower. So
For
I
how
was
long?
like,
Is that true?
For the year. So I was like, I could leave these bed bugs behind me. I could just move.
Do you get just a 1-bedroom in Trump Tower?
You share it with Miss Universe, and if she's old enough, Miss Teen USA.
Wait.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So Trump is now. You know when you're going to this thing that Trump's going to be there.
Yeah.
He owns it.
Yeah.
And were you so you bed bugs? You go to the hotel. You get a little bit of sleep.
Yeah.
You go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And you meet the 50 others because DC 50 other people. And how long is this whole Vegas stay? What's different?
So Vegas is about 3 weeks.
Wow.
We're living there. We lived in Planet
They're
Hollywood.
paying for everything at least?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're living there for about 3 weeks. But there's something every day. Like it's either fittings or it's appearances or it's rehearsals. And it's rehearsals for the preliminary show, which is not televised. And then it's rehearsals for the televised show. Then you need to do rehearsals where different girls get in the top 15. So the choreographers can be like, okay, if this girl makes it, you take her spot. It's like you're all swings for each other.
Wow.
Choreography-wise, too. Which is nuts how these choreographers have to plan all that out. But so it's a lot of rehearsals, but one day you are going to be meeting Trump. So you have the dress that you'll be wearing when you're going to meet Trump.
And is everyone like, we're going to meet Trump?
Well, here's the thing. Trump, there were rumors about this, so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but people have said that he would personally select around 7 girls, 5 to 7, to be in the top 15.
And they would pretend that the judges determined this later, but he would be.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And that he was partial to blondes. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, I don't know that he's going to like me. But, so we would all line up. It would be him and someone with a notepad. And he'd go up and shake hands with the girl, maybe make a nod to someone with the notepad who'd be, like, it was kind of obvious who he liked or not.
Oh, my God.
Hey, this one right here.
He comes up to me. And he goes, New York, I hear the weather's nice there.
Oh.
Smooth fox.
Because he lives there.
He lives there.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I literally think I just said,
he's a charmer.
Sure is. They're like, yeah. Because I'm like, this is it? This is all you got?
Yeah.
You don't deserve more of an answer from me.
Yeah.
But he was very nice. There are girls from my year who said he was peeking in dressing rooms and doing all this crazy weird shit. I didn't notice any of that. There was always security and always like
Who was just
chaperones.
peeking in the blondes' rooms, I guess.
Maybe, yeah. They separated us. We were segregated. The
Was it
brunettes.
your year that people? Because I remember the things that I saw. Because there's a comedian who we'll have on at some point where he worked for the pageants. And he came for David Castle something, and he was the one who said he talked about him doing Adderall or snorting the Adderall. He said something about he would put his fingers in the mouths and check the gums, and something more intense, something more graphic about butt cheeks and whatnot. But it made it sound very, very rough.
Yeah, I don't know who all did that.
Yeah.
But I can only speak to my
Your
experience.
yeah.
And that was not it.
But when he came, he saw all 51 of you were lined up, and it's
Yes.
just one by one.
Yes.
It sounds like deflating to see who he was nice to, and did he just skip past some people?
I mean, he spent a little more time with some people than other people.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like one of those things. You're like, ugh, at this point, there's nothing I can do about it.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, this is also pre him even being a political person. He's just the TV guy.
Yeah.
This is
Which-
back when I
Also,
would have been
this
like,
is
yo, I met Trump today.
I mean, it's pre any of the it's pre Me Too. Like, there's like a thing of like it's just how it's done. Everyone lines up, and then the TV guy comes and he's like beep beep. Like that's
Yeah.
Beep,
the world
beep.
people live
Which,
in.
by the way, I then met and interviewed Trump years later.
Oh right.
Yeah.
When I was at Fox.
Right.
And it was right before he announced he was running for president. He was like sort of floating around the idea. And I remember thinking, oh my God, it's going to be so embarrassing when he tries to run for president. No one's going to vote for him. Literally, that's what I thought in my head.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You
But
weren't
he
weren't
was-
alone.
Did you encourage him, or did you try to shut it down? Joanne?
It was when I was doing early Greg Gutfeld show, and it was me and Greg was like, hey, what role would I have in your White House if you become president? And he's like, I think you'd be a great press secretary. And I'm just sitting there nodding. I'm like, I forget what I asked him about, like superstitions or like something weird.
Is it superstition or like the border? Do we need to make it more secure?
But no, he was very charming. That's the thing. It's like when you meet him in person, he has this, or at least then, I can speak to like 7 years ago, this ability to make you feel important, which I think is what most people want to feel.
Sure.
And when you're in the room with someone who you think is so important and is such a tycoon and has had, a life, you're like, oh, wow, like this person is like asking me questions about me. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. What's your cup size?
Well, look at your Trump impression.
Couple years too late. But I had it in the can.
Is this how you do
What's your
cup
breast size?
Yeah. Do you know what a cup is, Gianmarco?
What's your breast? So when you were doing this, when you were in it, were you like, was there a difference between women who were like, this is all bullshit, but listen, if I win, I get some good things? Or like, were there some women who were like, I want to be Miss USA. I want to be the prettiest woman in the world.
I think it's in the middle of both of those weird examples.
I'm just saying, like, was there anyone who's like, this is fucking bullshit? Oh my God, fuck. Like, it's just like, it's just older men. Listen, here's my cynical view. My cynical view is like, this is older men going, this woman's hotter. Yeah. Give it to her.
Listen, there were some girls who definitely had more fun with it. Like I remember Miss Florida my year. She's 20. God bless her. The metabolism of whatever has a high metabolism. She's just eating donuts at breakfast and just like shoving it in everyone's face. She's like, I just had my third donut today. Or, and then there are some girls who are taking it very seriously, going to the gym, working out. Like that's kind of more the annoying thing. But then there were other girls, like I think me and my roommate Stacy, who on our one day off, we got our nails done. We went to an Italian restaurant. We smelled the bread, and we each got a glass of wine. And we're like, this is fucking incredible.
You just smelled the bread.
Yeah. I mean,
that
we
is
got,
very sad.
We got salads.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a downside, just smelling the bread.
Yeah, that is. I mean, did you go hog wild after you were done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hog wild for her is half a slice of bread.
No.
Yeah, it's like half a bagel.
Oh, yeah.
I can't eat the whole thing. I'm too full.
I don't know what you saw like as hog wild in your head. Joanne just eating 3 Big Macs in a row. So the big day comes. You have the preliminary, which is anything decided there, or is it?
The top 15 is decided from the preliminary scores. They pick the highest 15 scores cumulatively of the evening gown, interview, and swimsuit.
So were you even on the TV program?
You saw me walk down and go, Joanne Nosuchinsky, 23. How old was I then? 24. 24, New York. Although it might have been a voiceover. I don't even think I said that live. I think it was a voiceover. So yeah, you saw me walk and you saw me dance behind the Jonas Brothers in a bikini. And then that was about it.
And was that the dance? Was it as simple as what you just showed me?
Truly.
How much, and then when you find that out, how much more time do you have to invest in being there as a part of the thing?
Oh my God. Some of these girls, when they found out they're not top 15, are sobbing in the back.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I then went up to the choreographer and I was like, I think you did this on purpose. You wanted me to be in the center for the choreography, didn't you? You wanted me to stay in your dance number because the top 15 weren't in the dance number because they were going to parade in their swimsuits. So I was like, it's okay. I'll take one for the team. So I tried to have a good attitude about it.
Yeah.
It sucked. But again, I was like, but people are seeing me dance on stage. Like,
yeah.
People are seeing how captivating I am. I will steal the spotlight from all of these bitches in my bikini doing my 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Were you? I mean, it sucks. It more just sucks because they took so much of your time. They take a lot. And then when you're done with that.
Yeah, but like, it was kind of like a really cool 3 weeks in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do
That's
VIP stuff that like not most people get to do.
I was in Vegas for a week and I do not want to go back to Vegas for a long time. 3 weeks.
But also
seems
like
tough.
We couldn't leave our hotel floor. Unless it was for an event or for rehearsals.
Oh, weird.
We had a hospitality suite, like the huge suite that's on the floor. We could hang out in. There were snacks. You could like use Wi-Fi, like whatever. But you couldn't leave the floor because there was security by the elevators. Like you weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
And so the Jonas Brothers were there.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was there. Any other big folks?
Juliana Rancic was the other host.
Who's that?
She's married to Bill Rancic. She was E News. She does the red carpets.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize the name, but not the face.
How do I put this nicely? She looks kind of like an ant.
Oh.
Well, okay. How would you put that nicely?
Nicest way you could probably say that.
So
anyone who's listening right now who knows what she looks like totally agrees with me.
Looking back, do you think you would have won if you hadn't smelled the bread? Looking back, what is there
No,
anything
honestly-
that you could have done? Do you
or
think?
would have done differently?
I should have eaten the bread. No, so I had a publicist through this whole time. That's also another thing I was like given when I won New York was a publicist, and she was like, honestly, you're petite. You're only 5'5", and then you were so thin that I think you were just like a little too tiny. Because again, you win a modeling
So they're gonna
contract.
put it on you.
You win a modeling contract and you're competing at Miss Universe with Miss Venezuela and Brazil and these like huge, tall, like hunky, curvy, like fabulous women.
Dating this new
And-
girl, she's real hunky. Ooh, she's a real hunkster.
Yeah, why did I say hunky? But anyways, so I get it. Like, I don't think if I were Miss USA, I would have done well at Miss Universe.
Who won Miss Universe that year?
So Erin Brady was USA. She, I think, made top 10. I can't remember. It might have been Philippines. I think it might have been Philippines.
Is Russia competing in this? Is this like every country? Russia's?
It's not every country. I think it's like 80 countries. But usually Russia's... Is Russia there? Yeah, usually Russia's there.
China? No.
I don't think China, but maybe some smaller countries around China. I don't know my geography either.
And so, I think there's a part of me, again, this is a judgmental part of me, where I'm like, oh, this beauty competition should go. Because,
What
But like,
good does
why?
that
If
do?
you don't like it, don't watch it.
sure, it's something about, I think it's just something to me about like the people in charge of it. It just feels like it's easy for it to be toxic. It's easy for it to be like people not eating.
But what isn't?
Sure.
Yeah, you're like on the scale of priorities in America right
Sure,
now.
sure. Okay, sure. Let's play that game. So nothing should be changed.
No, I'm
My
just saying,
water.
like,
If the
I'm
heater doesn't
saying-
work,
Okay, I'm saying like, I don't know. I feel like there's. Yeah, I'm sure they, and some part you've said that they are adapting of like people.
what do you think of beauty competitions? Full.
I have never thought about it because I don't. It's not part of my life. Do you know what I
Sure,
mean? Like
sure.
it's not like I don't. And you're the only person I know that has participated in one, and I've and I don't even know anyone who's gone to one. Like to watch it as a sport. Like I don't
Yeah.
know who's doing that. So you're like, so I really just feel
'Cause you're not friends with
it doesn't
them.
feel connected to my life in any way. So I just feel like you could push for change. It just feels like why
Well,
push
and
first?
here's
Like
the thing.
what to what end? Like what?
Well, yeah, like,
What
but
is it?
I don't know. Listen, I'm not fully settled, but I see why, like, they're like, get rid of the bikini thing. Like, it's just like, obviously they did that because people are trying to be more body positive. I think there is a, like, struggle of figuring out what does body positivity mean in relation to, can you have beauty like, these things kind of come
Sure.
head to
I mean,
head.
but listen, you're going to get rid of the bikini competition, but then you just, you're sitting in the audience scrolling Instagram and you see so many women showing off their figures in bikinis on there anyway.
We're still gonna see their heads.
You know, and at least on stage, it's not photoshopped, right?
Sure.
Like, isn't Photoshop toxic? We shouldn't be auto-tuning, face-tuning, all of that stuff. So, like, at least on a stage, it's what a person really looks like. But the thing that I forgot to mention is that, you know, there's always, like, platforms in pageantry, like charities and organizations that you work with. So, like, that is a good thing.
Yeah, like Trump University. So when all those accusations came out about Trump at the pageant, did people reach out to you and ask, like, did he stick his fingers in your gums?
You know what? I am pissed off that not only was I in Trump's pageant, I worked at Fox News Channel, and no one interviews me
Oh, you
to
missed
be
all
like,
the things.
did any of these men do any? Like, no one.
Yeah.
Maybe they just figure that my answer would be, I had a great time,
Yeah.
peace. But like, no
Oh, yeah,
one's
the
reached
Fox
out.
News thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did the Fox thing come about because of the Miss New York thing?
for sure.
For
I
sure.
did
See,
my
that's
first.
a big.
My first appearance on Fox News Channel was on Neil Cavuto's show. I debated with him as Miss New York. I like wore my sash. About at the time Bloomberg's soda ban. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like sodas over a certain size wouldn't be sold anymore. So as an advocate for health and fitness, I was on the side of the mayor. Like, you don't need to buy the large soda. You can buy smaller ones if you really want it, buy multiples. Or, you know what's cheaper and delicious? New York City tap water. New York tap water, some of the best water in the world. And then BuzzFeed kind of picked that up because, was it BuzzFeed? One of these outlets was like, is Neil Cavuto flirting with this beauty queen? Because we had like a back and forth going on.
Uh-huh.
And then anyways, I actually ended up knowing the producer. I was friends with her on Cavuto. And then I think she had like pitched me, or someone else saw my appearance, another producer. And so then I did appearances on Red Eye. And then there was an open spot and I joined as a co-host full time.
And do you mind if I ask, in terms of, we're a pretty liberal show here.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Was there any hesitation of working with Fox at the time? Or did it feel like it was like a funny... Red Eye used to be a big comedian stopping point.
Yeah.
Amy Schumer had it was like a early, like comics first kind of TV gig.
Yeah.
And...
Michael Che, I was there for his first television experience.
wow.
So
He was on the
crazy.
panel. His publicist was also there. He's sitting next to me. And there's 3 cameras. But like a panel show, you're not looking directly into the camera when you're talking because you're having a conversation. And at one point he was like, what camera do I look into? And we're like, this was before SNL, like before anything. And we're like, oh, no, you can just talk.
Yeah.
He was so green. And then very shortly after that, he booked SNL.
He exploded quick. He had been doing stand-up for 3 years when he moved beyond fast.
Yeah.
That's a famous story when Oprah did The Color Purple, which she is amazing in. But she was doing a scene with Whoopi, and apparently she was saying the lines to the camera, and Steven Spielberg was like, holy shit, we fucked up.
Yeah.
But she's amazing in that. Well, you've always wanted to have Gutfeld on the show, but he's probably too big for it now.
Yeah, we've talked about Gutfeld a lot, you and I.
And
Clearly.
how long were you on Red Eye?
Like 2.5 years?
Yeah.
That's how long I was at Fox for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Gutfeld show for about a year. And then it became the revamped Gutfeld show that's now on like daily. But I was just on it like once a week.
Yeah.
But no, I helped write for these shows too, which was a really great experience. And I would film what I called millennial moments, which were like little sketches about being a millennial or man on the street kind of segments. I hated those. I always get so embarrassed having to talk to people.
That's just the worst.
Oh, yeah.
I can handle it if someone does the initial ask and brings them over, but something about the rejection of, hi, could I talk? No. I
awful.
hate it.
Yeah.
It's not in my system to do.
Yeah.
What Billy
I even-
Eichner does
even-
and just
even- oh my
annoys
God.
people, I feel horrible.
Anytime I watch any of those ones where they're dressed up as someone doing something else, I'm like, I don't know how they do that, even if they're dressed up.
Well, a lot of it is
Stresses me
location.
out.
So we would always do Times Square because there's always tourists who are willing to talk, or like one avenue over. And then we would usually remove the flag that said Fox News Channel. And we would put on like a Red Eye one or a Gutfeld flag.
Oh, yeah.
So that people would be like, where is this airing? What is this on? And when we're done, it's like, Fox.
You're like,
Oh my
Cable.
Fox.
But no, at this, like you said, so there were a lot of comedians who started on the show. For me, it was just an opportunity to stop bartending. So
Yeah.
I'm like, and I never really, I never had to change my views. I was never like super right or left. I would just try to find the funny always. Or if a viewpoint wasn't represented, I would just argue it because that's what's fun.
Sure. With Gutfeld, you have to have someone trying to find the funny.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of the point of his show. He would hate that you said that. But yeah, it's as soon as people take themselves too seriously, which is I think what the right is really turning into, is then when you're like, I got to get out of here. And
Sure.
also as I just was getting older, I was like, but I really want an acting career, and being in this institution is not going to help me get
Yeah,
there.
you did. You left.
So I left. I left a whole lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm back to bartending. You guys. Because I have standards.
Well, that's the problem with. And listen, I think
I mean, you
shows
left at like a good. I mean, because it probably would like. You
Oh my
left
God, they wanted
before-
me to stay through the election. And I
Yeah,
said,
and you
no.
left before the election, and that really like thinking of like long term things being under that establishment for that time period, and then into that time period could have been pretty damaging or limiting to what your future, like in terms of
Yeah, I just think it's rough comedically. I mean, liberals do this too, but I do think it happens more on the right, where it's like comedy's hard to do, And so whenever if you run out of the jokes, you just start leaning into sincere views or like sharing political opinions because it's easier. It's easier to just be like, well, this is the problem. That's not a joke, but it gets people riled up and it becomes more and more that.
Yeah.
Because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's hard to be original and funny. And, it's like when SNL sings the song I Miss You, Obama. Like, it's like, it's eventually you're like, fuck, we have 3 more minutes to do. Jokes are tough. Let's just say I miss Obama, the president, you fucking losers.
Or they'll find that one nugget of funny and then spend like a 5-minute monologue on it. You're like, okay, but you're actually missing the whole point, or you're not getting to the point because it would make you seem hypocritical or like you're in the wrong. So let's just focus on this one overdone nugget.
Yeah.
That you found humor in. I think that otherwise it's then, like you said, just kind of becomes preachy.
Yeah.
In a weird way, and you're like, but this is supposed to be entertainment?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah. The same way I feel. I had an ex-girlfriend like one time that her dad showed me like a Christian comics like full hour set, and I feel the same way about when I watch that as sometimes watching like Colbert now, where you're like the same feeling of like, I don't know who this is for. It's not for me. It's not making me feel like I can with Colbert. I can listen and be like, sure, I agree on some things.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to I didn't agree, but there's thing of like, this isn't comedy. Like, this isn't a thing. It's just this. And it's so popular now on all fronts.
Of course.
So it's pretty frustrating. I mean, we talk about it a lot. So.
All right. Well, let's go on to our next segment.
Yes.
This has gotta stop.
This has got to stop. Do you have this has got to stop for us today?
Yeah. Do you have a lot of mothers that listen?
Just yours.
Yeah. I probably 1 or 2.
Okay. The mothers who complain or post on social media that they haven't had a hot cup of coffee in years. To which I say, neither have I, because the physics of coffee is it gets cold.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm busy doing my makeup and I forget my coffee is there and I have to heat it up in the microwave. Sure, I'm not taking care of a child, but I also have a life and responsibilities and I can't finish that cup of coffee quickly.
Yeah, how
and
fast
that's what
are they
microwaves
drinking
are
coffee
invented
that
for.
it stays hot the whole time? Do you know what I mean?
Who wants to just sit and drink a cup of coffee? Nobody.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think anything where a person who is a parent is being like, I remember the days, like when you're saying you're doing anything, and they're like, you're like, what are you doing tonight? You're like, just staying home watching TV. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well then go fucking kill your kid. And like, I don't know, like you decided.
And then I'll watch about it on
You
TV.
decided about this. I didn't. Don't like, also like, I know you can. Because those things generally get put down.
Some people do it. We're like, I don't have the time to watch a TV show.
A lot of times I don't start watching TV till 11 p.m. at night. Like, I'm saying that baby should have been in bed hours ago at that point. So like I bet you could figure it out.
I think we should be able to get back to them like right before we die when there's no one around our beds. We should be able to be like, oh,
must be nice.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
There's like a video of like no one. Yeah. Just a video message to anyone who has kids and be like, must be nice. Alone in this room. That's funny.
But they will have stopped speaking to you. That would be a good way to end into the final part. But I like that. Moms, maybe if you'd spend more time putting on makeup, your husbands would warm that coffee up for you.
Or maybe, I don't know, put it in a microwave.
Yeah.
I microwave this here. I microwave all the time.
My coffee cup at least twice throughout the course of me drinking.
I worry. Sometimes I worry about. I remember when my grandpa got a pacemaker and it was like something he had to leave the room before the microwave because they said the microwaves.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I don't know if it was like real or like it was like a tiny percentage, but I just remember having to be like, Grandma, go! This coffee is lukewarm. Get out of here.
I like to imagine you in an empty apartment still like reflexively yelling, I'm going to start the microwave.
Grandpa, go!
My grandpa saw me by the microwave. He was like, must be nice.
Must be.
Watching the microwave. Speaking of, let me do a quick, this has got to stop. My microwave, and I feel like this is a lot of people microwaves, where after it finishes, every couple 30 seconds, it does the beeps.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you know what? A busy mother forgets it's in there.
A fridge is okay. But Tova gets upset because my fridge does if it does beep. But
That
I'm like, you
helps
know what?
It helps
I
you
need
when
to
you're
know.
not going to ruin food.
Yeah, and it's annoying when you're putting in your groceries and you're like, is there a button that we can like stop it for 3 minutes?
There's nothing that if you put in the microwave and it's stopped.
Yeah.
You would need to keep knowing, really. Like, unless it's just like to help someone be like, reminder, you did something. But it's too long. It's too many beeps.
Too many beeps.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Great. Let's go on to our final segment.
Yeah.
You better count your blessings.
I'll start this one off. I do, since we didn't talk about Douglas enough. I know Douglas can be like, okay, enough of this pageant shit. Back to Douglas.
You think he's
yeah.
actually going to listen?
Oh, Douglas listens to every episode.
Does he really?
Yeah.
At least portions of
Is that
This will
just
be
what
the
he
first time he's
tells
ever
you?
listened to you on a podcast. So.
Oh, I know. No, I tell him not to listen to mine.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I'm like, why? Although I talk about him in every
When
show.
Tova stopped, what do they call him on your show? They call him Hot Dog Douglas?
Oh, yeah. What do they call him? Hot dog fingers? Hot dog lover?
Hot dog lover.
Hot Dog
Hot
Lover.
dog lover? I don't know. Just
Why?
like
Because it was...
No, we were all once at a barbecue and Douglas got 2 hot dogs, one for me, one for him, and they were like, "Boy, this guy loves hot dogs."
Oh,
man.
brutal.
Brutal
Yeah.
nickname.
Brutal. You just pick up 2 hot
He loves
dogs
it,
and that's
though.
it.
Now, whenever we're by Nathan's, I make him stand under and we take a picture and then I show it on the show.
Wow. Well, I will throw out my blessing to Douglas and to you and to Nicole and Chris. They all came. We did a Beat the Bomb, as I said in the beginning. I got it for free as an influencer, and you guys were all game. And you do like it's not escape roomy really. It's just an activity, and you do different rounds.
Yeah.
And the most fun one is there's lasers, and you have to like spy, like jump over all the lasers, jump and crawl,
Oh, wow.
and then yeah, I think we had a lot of fun.
We did have a lot of fun. And my blessing is to the manager who finally figured out that we were trapped in the last room.
We were so
And
waiting in the room. We're sitting on the floor
for
because you have to wait to go to the next
20
room.
plus minutes. Initially a guy came in and he said, "Oh, just wait a minute. They're not quite done, or they're fixing something. Something happened." And then he left. So then we're 25 minutes. We're just kind of sitting in this
And it's
room.
crazy to wait this long.
People are opening the other door.
So the other door, there's a kids. I mean, this is mostly for children.
Yeah.
And the kids keep opening the door.
I
so
imagine
then
you're the only like full-grown adult.
We were,
there.
yes.
we were for sure.
Absolutely. It was all kids screaming around you in the other rooms.
And so then all 5 of us, we gather outside of the
was-
door that this kid keeps opening to see when they
same
can
kid
move
keeps
in.
opening, so we were like, this will be funny. We'll stand at the door when he opens, so we're all just looking at
Standing
him.
at the door just looking. And so the moment he opens it, there's 5 grown adults staring at him. And he shuts the door immediately.
So we're having a lot of fun in this room where we can't move and nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden the manager comes in and says, "Oh, how long have you guys been here?" And we were like, "Oh, like 20 minutes." He goes, "Okay. Oh my God." They had lost our information. They didn't know we were there. They were confused. Anyways,
They offered us a free to
they
go
did.
back.
Yes.
Wait, but didn't this happen to you guys before? You did an escape room and they forgot to put the key
for
or
my
something?
birthday, we did an escape room, and it was a haunted house themed. And we made it to the end, and we opened, the final laser, final mirror to the final box. We opened the box, and it was empty. And it was clearly like something should have been in this box.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And then the woman at the desk opened the door, totally out of character. This whole thing was like, ooh.
Yeah, ooh.
And she opened this door with the final key in her hand, and she said, "Yeah, I forgot the key. You escaped the room." And she had just forgotten to set that last piece.
It was really awful.
And then she offered us a 10% discount on the next escape room.
Yeah, because you were like, you had no satisfaction from having
Yeah,
escaped.
it was like the
It
moment.
was so shitty. You're like, no, we didn't escape. We like, taking away that moment was really, really.
It's like sex.
Oh,
and
I'm
then
so sorry.
right before you come, a woman comes in and says, "You escaped the room."
Good one. End there, Gianmarco. End there, right there. Play
You're really
the outro
sassy
music.
today. I like this. A lot of critiques of my my style.
I feel more comfortable.
Fish food as a flavor is what?
Okay, so it's chocolate ice cream with little chocolate fish candies, a marshmallow swirl, and a caramel swirl.
Okay.
It's
Fish
really
like
good.
the band.
Fish, PH.
PH.
Ben and Jerry's, and it's like they like advertise it like as such, like the fish.
I think it's like this is what you want to eat when you get high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So do you have a? Well, you gonna go to your phone right now?
Yeah, I have a lot of work calls I missed.
What's your blessing?
I think I did this wrong. Is it just something I'm thankful for?
What did you tell me? What you thought it was?
I thought it was what's something you're thankful for.
Yeah.
But is it supposed to be a person?
No, it could be anything.
No, it could be
Oh, okay,
anything.
great.
It could be
anything.
It
okay.
could be.
I am really speaking of food. I am really thankful I do not have any food allergies.
That is really
Hear
good.
that, Tova?
And let me tell you, if you are looking for something to say at Thanksgiving, if you have to go around a table to say what you're thankful for, no food allergies, crowd pleaser. Everyone's like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's right. And I don't. My mother has celiac disease, so she can't have any gluten. It makes her very sick. She developed it when she was like 45.
Oh, that's so scary.
And I did the ancestry or the DNA. I spit in a tube. Apparently, and they'll tell you.
That was part of the
there's-
Trump thing?
Yes. There's a... I got back another tube of liquid. There's a gene that can detect celiac. And there's 2 genes. I have one of them. But most Eastern European people do. Just because I have this gene doesn't mean I'll get celiac disease, but I have a higher likelihood, which I already knew. So right now I'm enjoying those half bagels.
Do you get scared that
much
one
as
day
I
you're going
can.
to take a bite of that bagel and be like, ooh, it doesn't feel good?
Sort of, but I'm more nervous if I stop having something that I'll develop the
Yeah.
intolerance, which will become the allergy.
Yeah.
That's how it. I thought. I don't know how any of that works, other than give your babies peanuts. That's what I know is like the
Oh.
thing, because that'll help them develop. But I don't know if it's like you stop eating something for a little and then you become allergic.
I think just in general, if there's something your body isn't used to, your system isn't used to it, it's then like a foreign something like
Yeah.
entering it.
Well, that was a good one, and then I think we can all agree, Douglas. Just a bonus for Douglas.
Yeah.
He people love his,
We're all
his music
thankful
every
for
time.
Douglas.
They always say, well, "Who wrote that music?"
Yeah.
And we're gonna have him on.
Sometimes they wake
soon.
back up like they haven't been present, and then they're like, "Whoa, that!
Whoa.
I like that."
Get
I like nothing
Well,
else
nothing
about.
else-
So the moment I
nothing
walked
about
in,
this.
didn't like any of it,
But I like that.
but I like that.
Yeah.
yeah, I had to listen to your theme song so much.
Oh yeah, when he was
He really worked on it.
composing.
Yeah, in the
What do you mean
apartment.
he really worked on
I
it?
thought like Douglas goes like, what do I do? Downs, and then it's done.
Yeah, but did you hear the layered vocals? Do you know at the different like pitches he had to sing downside and like meld it all together, and then him saying your name? I was actually like, "Are you sure you're saying it right?"
Gianmarco Soresi.
I was like, "Is it Soresi or Soresi?" And I totally got in
Wow,
his
okay,
head,
so you both
and then he
don't
had to
know.
talk to you.
Oh my God, really?
Soresi.
They funny. So I made a theme song for you that said Joanne Nosuchinsky.
Well, you know I'm taking Douglas's last name. When we get married,
Goodhart's a good
Goodheart.
name.
Goodheart.
Goodhart's a good
Goodbye,
name.
Nosuchinsky. Joanne Goodhart sounds
Joanne
so much
Goodheart
better.
is a good. It's a good name.
I sound like an 80-year-old actress, and I'm here
Joanne Goodheart.
Are you gonna? What's your middle name?
for it. I don't have one.
This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.